Hello everybody, it's Daryl T. Dixon back with another edition of the Daily Daryl Live on Facebook. And if you hadn't seen me this week, it's because I've been in depositions all day Monday, all day Tuesday, and most of the day today. So I haven't been able to even get to my desk, my office, the home with the Daily Daryl, headquarters. Hey Lance Neal, Big Daddy. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about today was medical malpractice in the state of Kentucky. And it's different in every single state. And every state surely has their own problems with it and everything. What's up, Coach? And I want to start with some of the, hi, Crystal, and I want to start with some of the big problems I see. Because I get calls all the time, people, hi, Larry, saying different things, asking different questions about do they have a case in a medical malpractice case. And I certainly always welcome those calls and everything, but I think my job as a trial lawyer in the state of Kentucky is a lot about educating people to what medical malpractice is and what it isn't. And just so you know, anybody that's ever had a medical malpractice case in the state of Kentucky, at the time they have that, they know they're going, or their lawyer has told them, hey, you're going into a war zone. This is more akin to war than it is some kind of insurance claim or something of that nature. The odds are terrible against the patient in medical malpractice claims. I think the latest odds are 88% of the time the doctor and the hospital win. But patients seldom win these type of cases. And like we said, even the ones that go to trial, the doctor and the hospital are going to win 100% of the time, or 88% of the time. Now, what you can expect from a medical malpractice case is you're going to be in litigation for a good year and a half to probably 2 years before you can get to trial, if you get to trial. There's many certain things that have to happen just for you to get a trial in front of a jury of your peers in Kentucky. A little over a year ago, Kentucky enacted what I consider to be some very bad legislation, and it was pushed by the Republican lawmakers who had been wanting this. Once the House flipped Republican for the first time in so many years, they wanted to pass through what's called medical review panels. And so if you are injured by a doctor or a hospital today in Kentucky, then you must go in front of these medical review panels in front of 3 different experts, and you have to prove that your case has enough merit to go forward and should be allowed to go into the ordinary process of litigation. And what has happened is there's been numerous challenges to that new law, and it has been appealed several times and up to the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court of Kentucky, oral arguments were heard last week on this. It's a very hotly contested issue whether or not we should have these medical review panels. Of course, I think we should, and I think it's a total obstruction of justice. It's a violation of our 7th Amendment. And, I did some videos last year talking about this and basically just telling different people, how you doing there, Doc? And telling people that their 7th Amendment rights have been taken away, and they didn't even know. They probably didn't even know. And so it may not be a surprise today that you learn when it comes to hospitals, nursing homes, and doctors. If you have a lawsuit against them, you can't just go file it in court. You have to go in front of this medical review panel. Now, hopefully we'll win this case in the Supreme Court, and we can go back to the old law, which means you can file your case in circuit court and prove during the litigation whether you have a case. Similarly, if you don't have a case, it'll get kicked out. You hear people saying that, all these meritless lawsuits, frivolous lawsuits, and all this stuff against doctors and hospitals. It's not really true, at least the lawyers I know, because every time you file a medical malpractice or a hospital negligence claim, you've got to be prepared to pay $100,000 or more just to get that case to court. And so I don't know anybody that has the money to be filing frivolous cases, spending $100,000 on cases that won't get to court. So it is a big, I'm certainly giving you my viewpoint. There are differing viewpoints, and I do believe that doctors and hospitals, nursing homes should all be held responsible when they're at fault. I'm certainly not in favor of frivolous cases, but I do believe there are claims, that have merit and should go forward and will protect patient safety and patient rights. And I also believe, on the other hand, that the doctors and the hospitals have their rights. So anyway, we're going to get a decision in probably 3-4 months, probably from our Supreme Court, telling us how things are going to be done from now on in Kentucky. But I guess maybe my message today is just to the patient who thinks he or she may have a medical malpractice claim. And I want to tell you, these are the hardest cases on earth to be successful at. Don't listen to anyone that tells you that a hospital broke off their fingernail and 2 months later they got $3 million, because that doesn't happen. That's myth, that's rumors, that's somebody talking stuff that they know nothing about. So tort reform is the doctor's standpoint on this issue, because they don't want to talk about their rights to address one of the questions I'm getting right now, and we can touch on that later. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up today. It was just a brief segment on medical malpractice. The only cases that can or have a chance to make it in the state of Kentucky are very serious cases. We turn down probably 99 out of 100 inquiries, just because, for a case to be successful, it has to meet so much criteria. There has to be $100,000 in medical expense. There has to be pretty much gross negligence on the doctor or the hospital. So this was just more the state of medical malpractice in Kentucky, where the Supreme Court's at right now, and we'll certainly come back with a lot more information once we do get a decision from Frankfurt in our Supreme Court. It's Daily Daryl. Miss seeing everybody these first couple days this week. I'm back in the office for the rest of the week, and I hope you're having a wonderful week. And if you have any questions about medical malpractice, the state of medical malpractice, where the law's at, what the legislation is, just give me a shout. I'd be happy to help. Hope everybody goes out and has an awesome day.